in this video, I'm going to be talking about why the thing that scares you the most is probably exactly what God is calling you to do. So for me personally, I almost didn't do my retreat. So I already had it. I had the vision. I had the calling. I had the women who were around who needed this. They needed exactly what the retreat was designed for. And y'all going to see me look at my notes because I do have notes because I want to make sure, I want you to understand, like, I took my time making sure to really help you understand this and really give you ways to overcome this. And so I almost didn't do the retreat because I was scared. I was in fear. Um, and it wasn't so much that I didn't believe in God. It was more that I didn't fully believe that He meant for me to do this. And so is there something that's been nugging at you? Something you've been almost doing? Something you keep circling back to, but you have not moved on it yet? Just stay with me for a moment because I think what I'm going to share to you today is going to change the way that you look at fear entirely. So I am a Semone Sims. I am a certified life coach, and I have high achieving women who feel successful on paper, but inside unfulfilled. I help them understand that a lot of what we call strong is really survival, and I help them overcome that. So I'm so excited to help you. I'm so excited to have this conversation. I'm so excited to talk about fear and faith and the thing God is trying to get you to say yes to. So we're going to break this down into 4 parts. So the first part is that fear is not a stop sign. I think that we think that it is. It's like because I because I'm because I am uncomfortable doing this, because I'm scared to do this, that means I don't mean to do it. But I want you to reframe your thinking because fear can actually be a confirmation. It can actually be the confirmation that you're moving towards something that actually matters. I bet you never thought about that before. It can feel like a stop sign because I'm scared, I don't want to do this. But if we reframe our thinking and say, okay, this is actually a confirmation that I may need to do this because this might really matter. So small decisions, they don't really scare us. Small decisions are like, all right, that's just small, I can do that. The grand ones are really the ones that scare us. But if we actually do some rethinking, small decisions actually control our entire lives. Small decisions bring us closer to the larger decisions. And if we focus more on positive small decisions, we'll build that confidence and the capability that we need. Because we could focus on small negative things and it can keep growing and growing and growing. Oh, I don't have this, so I don't really need to do that. Oh, I'm not good at speaking, so I don't really need to do that. That compounds. So we change and understand that small decisions really control our lives, and that if we compound on positive small decisions, they'll give us that confidence and capability that we need. So the things that terrify us are usually things that could change the world. And a lot of times when I'm listening to speakers, like, you know, amazing speakers, when I'm watching athletes, even when I'm listening to like actors or actresses, like they always had some kind of backstory. It was always something, some type of something that would hinder them from doing the thing that they're doing now, and being afraid. But they did it anyway. Because I did go see the Michael Jackson movie, loved it. But just knowing how much he had to put into being Michael Jackson and knowing how he impacted the world through his music, I'm pretty sure that was very terrifying. Like, I know going through it, like you can love it, but it's still like I gotta put it out there. I gotta let other people see it, and then doing it and people catching the wave and people loving it. And so I also heard one of my favorite speakers. She was saying how she like it's dyslexic and she had like disability, and one of her is Lisa Nichols, and one of her teachers told her she was the weakest writer she ever met, and she said she mastered her imperfections. That is like deep. So she was still afraid. You had all these people speaking down to you, speaking horribly about you, but you changed the world. And so fear is not God telling us no. It is actually your nervous system responding to what is unfamiliar. So your brain is made to keep you safe. It is. Unfamiliar and not knowing the outcome can bring uncertainty, it can bring fear, and it can bring anxiety. But what if we actually flip that to expecting a good outcome instead of, oh my God, everything can go horribly wrong? What if we actually flip that into a mindset of, oh my goodness, everything can go right? So I want to share a moment with my very first retreat. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. Uh, the location that I had it at, a storm came, a flood came, flooded the entire place. It was supposed to be originally 8 women, dropped down to 2 women. So I was like, hey, everything, I'm already uncomfortable doing this because I don't know what the outcome may be. People really gonna like this? Are they even gonna really show up? I was like, nah, you know what? People done dropped out the place. That's all confirmation I need to not do this. But at that time, I did have a coach, and she encouraged me, you got to believe in the gift that you have, because she was a multi-million dollar coach at the time. And she said, if I can believe in you and you can't believe in yourself, sis, that's a problem. And I was like, dang, this lady believe in me more than I believe in myself. And so I actually did the retreat. I went ahead and did the retreat. Had to change the location. Did the retreat. It was only 2 women. And it was so much more intimate and transformational. You know, the way they came back and they jump started things, because they sent me like progress of during that retreat we had an activity, and then it was a check-in after a 3-month period and a 6-month period, and how impactful it was and how thankful they were for the experience really showed me, okay, you got to get out of your own way, because God put you here to help other people. Don't block anybody's blessing because of your fear. And that was when I said, okay, then I got to do. I might can't do it in my own strength, but I gotta trust and believe in the strength that He has given me. All right, so now we're on to section 2. Section 2 is about what we confuse fear with. So we've been taught to wait until fear leaves before we move. But that's not faith, that is stalling. So waiting until this feeling of fear, or I'm scared, I'm uncertain, leave before we should move, that's not us having faith. That is us stalling. And that feeling may never leave. So there's a difference between fear as a warning and fear as resistance. So fear as a warning is real danger. That particular fear is protecting you. So you want to make sure you listen to it. An example of that is that this particular relationship is causing my peace every single day. Every single time it's causing me peace. So that is more of a fear as a warning. Fear as resistance is, it's no real danger. This fear is not protecting you. It's protecting the old version of you. So an example of that is, what if I put myself out there and nobody responds? So fear as resistance is your nervous system protecting what is familiar, because what is familiar is likely survival mode. It is. You used to it, and you used to, having your autonomic nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system elevated. Hey, I'm not finna do that. Seriously though, your your nervous system is trying to protect what is familiar. So when the unfamiliar comes, it's very uncomfortable. It makes you very uncertain, and it makes you fearful. And so I want to talk about how high achieving women especially confuse caution with wisdom. So sometimes they confuse, okay, I got to have this strategy, and once the strategy makes sense, then that's when I need to move. But wisdom guides your steps, and caution keeps you from taking any steps, you know? And I want you to think about that. Wisdom guides your steps, and caution keeps you from taking any steps. And a lot of high achieving women, a lot of high performing women will confuse the two. Like, okay, I need to be cautious because, and I'm not saying caution is not wisdom. It becomes an issue when it paralyzes you from doing anything. That's when it becomes a problem. So just thinking, I'm just being responsible can be fear wearing a logical outfit. You can have a dream, or you can feel like, okay, if I do this particular event, I know this will change women's lives. I know this will change whoever. I know this will be impactful to the world, but something telling me to wait. So I'm just gonna be responsible and wait. You're hindering somebody else's deliverance. And you think that is caution. You're not thinking, you're being cautious, but you're not taking any steps. And that's exactly what someone may have needed to change their life. It may be what you needed. It might even be a conversation with somebody, but you cautious, like, well, wait, I'm gonna wait to call them. And that probably would have been exactly what you needed to accelerate your growth, to accelerate your life. But because you were fearful, you didn't take that step. So the woman who waits for the perfect moment, a lot of the time, she is still waiting, because the perfect moment never comes. And I'm gonna tell you that. That's something I've learned myself. Like thinking, one of the things with me, I am very strategic. That is me at my core. That's ingrained in me. But I used to be so strategic to the point to where I was analysis paralysis. Like I would have to analyze, and something don't fit in the analysis. So then I gotta analyze some more till I would not move. I would not do anything. So it is a real thing. Waiting for the perfect moment, and the perfect moment may never come. Is something actually wrong, or does it just feel unfamiliar? Because unfamiliar is not unsafe. Unfamiliar just means that it's something new. And I want you to think about that. When it comes to a particular situation where you feel like you should be doing something, but you're quite fearful of doing it, I want you to ask yourself, okay, is something actually wrong here? Or does this just feel unfamiliar? And then I want you to think, because if it just feels unfamiliar, unfamiliar it isn't unsafe. It's just something new and something you're not quite comfortable with yet. So now we're on to session 3. Session 3, what faith actually looks like in real life. Faith is not a feeling, it's a decision made in the presence of fear. Now that's good. Faith is not a feeling, faith is a decision made in the presence of fear. So every woman that I've coached, she was afraid to step up. And I noticed that a lot of women did not trust their intuition and that a lot of them were used to negative thinking. And so, with negative thinking, you make a lot of false assumptions. They're not true. You make a lot of false narratives that are not true, and then you believe them as if they're them. So, that's something that I've learned with a lot of the women that I talk to. So faith doesn't look like coincidence. Faith looks like moving. Faith looks like stepping. Faith looks like trusting in God's wisdom and not your own. And I've said it before in a video, like a lot of the times we feel like, well, why did God choose me to do this when he know I'm a hot mess? We got to just understand, like, don't trust in knowing you're a hot mess. Trust in knowing that the God of the universe wants you to do this. He's bigger than you. So trust in that and move. And so I do have two scriptures. The first scripture will be Proverbs 4:23, just to kind of help us and just to kind of, I'm always going to point to something biblical because God is my source and he's who I trust in. And I'm always going to give you something else to lean on because I'm not always available. And sometimes you just need that little piece of anchor, that little piece of, okay, like this is, let me make this connection and let me hold on to this because I can always carry this with me. So Proverbs 4:23 says, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it springs the issue of life. That's what the verse says. My notes say, your heart is not just where you feel things, it's where everything that you do comes from. So if you're pouring out of a heart that is wounded, depleted, and unguarded, everything you touch will carry those same emotions, those same things. So protect your life, protect your heart like your life depends on it, because in actuality, it does. And then the second Bible verse I have is Hebrews 11:1. And this verse says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And this is what I have in my notes. So I'm gonna read that verse one more time. And then right after that, I'm gonna say, like, from studying that, what I've understood from it. So the Bible verse again is Hebrews 11:1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is not just a feeling you wait for, it's proof that what God has promised is already real, even before your eyes can see it. You do not need evidence to move. Your belief in what He said is that evidence. I want you to think about that and keep that with you. The belief in what He said is the evidence that you need to move. And so in my own life, there have been times when I've been afraid to move. And what I realized, they all boil down to self-doubt and negative self-talk. And so, back onto, I would say, well, God, why do you want me to do this stuff? And like, I don't have it together. Like, I've been married and got divorced. Like, I went through a house fire and had to, like, my life had to change in the blink of an eye. Like, at one point I had no stability because my life, we were displaced from our home for 10 months waiting for it to be fixed. And why you want me out here talking to people and holding brunches and speaking to women? And I'm a hot mess inside because I'm like, my life, like, I went to sleep and woke up, my house was on fire, and then I had to go. But I had to realize, like, God is bigger than me. I had to really reframe that negative self-talk. I had to reframe self-doubt. I had to do a lot of self-reflection. I had to do a lot of praying. I had to plan. How am I going to change this? Why am I like this? How many women are going through this? And so I had to put myself out there. I had to say positive affirmations. And I had to just be authentically me and stop trying to wear a mask like I'm somebody else. I am a mom. I am a single mom with 3 children. I've been married and got divorced. I went through a house fire. I ain't got it together, sis, but I work on me every day. And I'm here to tell you, you can work on you every day too. And I'm here to tell you, it is scary, but move while you're scared. Because God put it in you for a reason. You know how a lot of us be like, what's our purpose? What's our purpose? Our purpose is exactly what we do and what we love doing that's not hard for us to just naturally do. And once I've learned what my purpose was, it's so funny because it took for me to go through the house fire for me to sit down. Like God, when God sit you down, and He will sit you down. I had to sit completely still and was so uncomfortable and realize you don't know how to rest. You don't know how to sit still. You aggravated doing what you do every day. You want something different. You've been wanting to be a coach. Why you didn't? Because of self-doubt. So it took for me to go through that to realize, okay, I can go to sleep, wake up, and my life is different. I'm going to have to move towards the things God want me to move towards and the things that make me feel complete and full and whole and aligned. And stop being scared and making excuses and not doing it. That was me in a little preacher mode, so I ain't going to preach that much, but I get a little preachy. All right, so we are now on session 4, which is that thing you almost keep doing. So it's that nudge that keeps coming back, and it's not random. That's a calling that is waiting on you to say yes. So a calling keeps returning even when you try to ignore it. So a calling doesn't just get quieter when you ignore it, it gets louder. That thing that keeps finding its way back to you is not a coincidence, it's more like a confirmation. Now, a distraction fades when you stop feeding it, but a calling, it survives your doubt, your delay, and every reason you give yourself to let it go. So there's a difference between a passing idea and persistent assignments. A passing idea, it excites you in the moment and it disappears when your life gets busy. A persistent assignment disturbs you in the quiet. It follows you in your sleep. Sometimes you might dream about it. It refuses to leave you when you've talked yourself out of it hundreds of times. So you know how you get that feeling like, dang, I say I'm gonna keep doing that, but for some reason I won't do it. It just keep popping up. Versus something you thought about doing. Cause let me tell you about me. I used to swear I was gonna have a hat business. Life got busy. I ain't want no hat business. I ain't really want to do that. I ain't really want to do that. It's just something I thought I was supposed to do because I had short hair and I like sometimes when you got short hair, your hair mess up real bad under the hair. But this coaching was something I've always done, and actually becoming certified in it was something I said I do, but I don't really know. But it kept nugging at me, it kept pulling at me until I finally said yes, and I finally did it. So I'm talking to you. I'm talking to the one who almost signed up, who almost applied, who almost booked the call, who almost wrote the book, who almost launched the business, who almost. I'm talking to you. If you are feeling that constant nug to do something, it is not random. It is not random. Y'all gotta excuse me. I get so excited, girl. I be messing up my words. It is not random. It is a calling that is waiting on your yes. And I want you to know, if you've watched this so far, it has not been an accident. This is something that was seriously meant, and I felt called to put out there. And I've taken my time to actually sit down and write and research it and pray about it. So it's not random. And I want to ask you to do something before you close this video. I want you to think about that one thing that you keep almost doing. Not the thing that feels safe, the thing that feels too big, the thing you pray about and then you talk yourself out of doing. The thing that is not a coincidence, that is an assignment. And the fear you feel around that is not a reason for you to stop. It's proof that it matters. So trust in that and trust in the calling that God put on your life versus feeling if you're capable enough to walk it out. If you've been feeling a pull towards the Unlearning Survival Retreat, September 24th through the 27th in Charleston, South Carolina, I want you to honor that. It'll be 6 women, 4 days, a complete reset. The webpage to sign up is in the description below. And if you're not ready for that, but you know you need someone in your corner right now, book a clarity call. The link is below as well. Use code GET20 and it gives you 20% off. I'm so glad you're here. I do not take it lightly that you have given me this time. Subscribe if this landed for you, because this is just the beginning of what we are building here. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.